Hey guys, welcome to the video tutorials of codeandtest.com. In this video we'll talk about unit integration testing. Unit integration testing is the phase in which the individual units are combined and tested as a group. The already tested units are combined and tested as a group. Okay. It occurs after unit testing and before system testing. It occurs after unit testing and before system testing. Okay, let's see this diagram. Unit integration testing takes as its input already tested units. Okay, these small boxes represents units which have been already unit tested. Okay, unit integration testing takes these units as input, groups them, tests and delivers the output. Okay, the output is an integrated system. Okay, and this system is now ready for system testing. Alright, we said unit integration testing occurs before unit testing and after system testing. Okay, so unit integration testing takes as its input the units that have already been unit tested. Okay, combines them, tests and delivers a system which is ready for system testing. Alright, so that's our unit integration testing, and we have different types of unit integration testing. We have bottom up integration, top down integration, sandwich integration and big bang integration. Alright, we'll see this one by one. First, bottom up integration testing. It's an approach where the lowest level components are tested first. Then we test the higher level components. Okay, first lower level components are tested, then higher level components are tested. Alright, let's see this diagram. Here we have text boxes, check boxes, radio buttons and links. Okay, and we have 3 text boxes, 2 check boxes, 2 radio buttons and 4 links. These 3 text boxes can be termed as 3 individual units. Okay, and 2 check boxes are 2 individual units, 2 radio buttons are 2 individual units and 4 links are 4 individual units. Okay, in unit testing what we do is we test these individual units separately, isn't it? Whereas in unit integration testing we are combining these units. Okay, we are combining these already tested units and forming a larger component or a larger unit and testing it. Okay, so here in bottom up integration testing what we are doing is we are testing the lowest level components first. Okay, and then we are combining these small or lowest level components to form a larger component and we are testing it. Okay, and this process is repeated until the component at the top of the hierarchy is tested. Alright, in our case we are combining 3 similar fields, that is 3 text boxes, and forming a larger component and we are testing it. Here we are combining 2 check boxes and forming a larger component and testing it. Here we are combining 2 radio buttons and forming a larger component and we are testing it. And here we are combining 4 links, forming a larger component and we are testing it. Okay, and afterwards this group of text boxes, this box is a group of text boxes now. So this group of text boxes is combined with a group of check boxes and formed an even larger component and tested. Alright, similarly here a group of radio buttons and a group of links are combined to form even larger component or larger units and tested. Now these 2 components are again combined to form even larger component. Okay, and it's tested. This is our bottom-up integration testing. So here we are testing the lowest level components first. Alright, lowest level components first, and then we are moving to the higher level components. Okay, this is repeated until the top component is, until the component at the top of the hierarchy is tested, isn't it? So this is our bottom up integration testing. We are moving from bottom to the top, so it's bottom up integration testing. And the next one is top down integration testing. So it's exactly opposite to bottom up. So top down integration testing is an approach where top integrated components are tested first. Okay, and the branch of module is tested step by step until the end of the related unit or component. Okay, let's take the same example here. Here, in top-down unit integration testing, the top integrated modules are tested first. Okay, these are larger groups of units, isn't it? So these are tested first, and then they are divided into individual units or individual components again. Okay, their integration is tested again. So it's exactly opposite to bottom-up integration testing. In bottom-up, we were testing the lowest level components first, and we are moving to the component at the top of the hierarchy. Alright, whereas in top-down testing, the component at the top of the hierarchy is tested first. Okay, and then we move downwards, okay, to the smaller units or smaller components. Alright, we test them, and again we move to even smaller components. Okay, like this we go to the bottom of the hierarchy. So this is our top down integration testing. Okay, and we have sandwich integration testing. Sandwich integration is an approach to combine both top-down integration testing and bottom-up integration testing. Okay, here we start from, in sandwich testing, we start from bottom and we start from top. So what I mean to say is we start both testing. We are combining both top-down and bottom-up, isn't it? So bottom-up integration testing is done. So we go from the lowest components to the higher ones. Alright, whereas in top-down testing, first the unit at the top of the hierarchy is tested, and then we move downwards, isn't it? So we combine this both top-down and bottom-up in sandwich testing. Okay, and the other thing is, other integration testing is Big Bang testing. In this approach, all or most of the units are combined together to form a major part and tested. Okay, in this we don't combine in Big Bang testing we don't combine similar units and test them. What we do here is we take these 3 text boxes, 2 check boxes, 2 radio buttons and 4 links, and we combine them all together to form a one large unit, and we test them. Okay, so in Big Bang testing what we have is we have these individual units which have already been tested. Okay, and these units are combined to form one large group, one large unit or one large component, and it's tested. Okay, we don't have this smaller or higher groups here, these groups. We don't have these boxes in Big Bang testing. Only thing we have here is this smaller little ones, little boxes, and then this one big box. Okay, so that's our Big Bang integration testing. and now we have stubs and drivers. As stated before, two or more units are combined to form a larger group and tested in unit integration testing. So now what if units are not developed, okay, but testing has to be done anyway, okay? Like for example, here we have to test these two components, okay, component A and component B, but component B is not developed. So what do we do then? Component B is not developed, but we have to do testing anyway. So what do we do now? So in such situations we introduce stubs and drivers, okay. Stubs or drivers are prepared. Now stub is a pseudocode written for a called component. Stub is pseudocode written for a called component, okay. Now let's assume there are two components, component A and component B, okay. There are few fields in component A that depend on component B in order to work correctly, okay. Now component A is developed, but component B is not developed, and we have to do testing. We have to test this both, okay. So what do we do now? So in such situations, pseudocode for component B is written. It's not the real code, it's just a pseudocode just to support component A, okay. And this pseudocode is called as stub, S-T-U-B, stub. Alright. So in order to support component A, pseudocode is written for component B, okay. This pseudocode is called as stub, okay. We have stubs and drivers in integration testing. So here component A and component B should be combined and tested, okay. But component B is not ready. So what do we do now? We write code for component B. We write pseudocode for component B. So this pseudocode is called stub. So this component B is our called component, isn't it? We are calling this component. So it's a called component. So pseudocode written for a called component is stub, okay. Now we have drivers. Driver is a pseudocode written for a calling component, okay. Let's see the diagram again. Now let's assume component B is developed, but component A is not developed. To support component B, a pseudocode is written for component A, okay. And this pseudocode is called as driver, okay. We are calling component B from component A, but component A is not developed, okay. So a pseudocode is written for component A. This pseudocode is called driver, alright. So driver is a pseudocode written for a calling component. Component A is calling component B now, isn't it? So a pseudocode written for a calling component is driver. So remember this thing, stub is pseudocode written for a called component, and driver is pseudocode written for a calling component. Alright. So that's all guys in this video. In this video we saw what unit integration testing is, and then we saw types of integration testing, and in types we saw bottom up, top down, sandwich, big bang, and then we talked a little about stubs and drivers. So thank you so much for watching the video guys. See you in the next video.